Most of the designers don't realize this, but the reason some websites feel effortless to use has nothing to do with the flashy designs. It's all about their information architecture. If you skip this step, no matter how good your design is, your users will feel like they're in the middle of nowhere, which leads to frustration. Just imagine, you're walking into a library where books are scattered everywhere. No sections, no labels, nothing. How are you going to find the book you need? That's why I'm going to tell you how to build an information architecture step by step with practical examples, guys. I've divided this video into 4 parts. In that, the first one, what is information architecture? Second one, why is information architecture important? Third one, 8 principles of information architecture. And lastly, the fourth one, how to build an information architecture from scratch. I'm going to explain everything to you with practical examples. Guys, at the end of this video, I'm going to give you a resource with which you can learn to build an effective information architecture. Let's get into the video. First one, what is an information architecture? Information architecture, or IA, is all about structuring and organizing a content in a way that makes sense to the users. Think of this as a map guiding users through your product. In a well-structured IA, users can find the right information in the right time with minimal effort. Information architecture is built up with 3 core elements. The first one is content. What information is available and how relevant it is to the users. Second one, context. Where, when and how are users interacting with the content. Third one, users. Who is consuming the content and what value does it provide? By balancing these 3 factors, we can build an information architecture that meets both user goals and business goals. Now you might think, why is information architecture so important? As designers, it's very important to create a clear and effective IA. Because first one, it reduces cognitive load. A well-structured IA prevents users from feeling overwhelmed by too much information. Second one, improves findability. It allows users to quickly locate what they need, ultimately reducing frustration. Third reason, enhances user satisfaction. When users can easily achieve their goals, they will trust the product and engage with it. Lastly, the fourth reason, boosts conversion rate. When there is a clear navigation, users should be encouraged to take the desired action, like making a purchase or signing up. In short, IA is the backbone of usability. When users navigate the product, to make them feel comfortable and confident, IA is very important, guys. We've seen why information architecture is important. Now let's look at the 8 key principles to build an effective information architecture. Information Architecture Lenses by Dan Brown. In that, Dan Brown has listed 8 guiding principles to build an effective information architecture. In that, the first one is the principle of object. Treat all content as a living thing. It has a life cycle, behavior, and attributes. The second one is the principle of choice. Less is more. Too many choices will make users decision fatigued, so limit the choices. The third one is the principle of disclosure. Before going deep into the content, users should be given a preview of what's in it. The fourth one is the principle of exemplars. Use examples to clarify the content categories. The fifth one is the principle of front doors. Assume that users will come from different entry points, not just from homepage. The sixth one is the principle of multiple classifications. When exploring contents, give multiple ways like topics, type, or audience-based classifications. The seventh one is the principle of focused navigation. Keep navigation simple and organized. Don't mix unrelated contents. Lastly, the eighth one is the principle of growth. When designing an information architecture, keep scalability in mind so that the product expansion will be smooth in the future. If you follow these 8 principles, your information architecture will have a strong foundation. But how can you build an information architecture from scratch? Shall we break down the process step by step? Join me as we explore it together. Step 1. The first step in creating an effective information architecture is to define the goals. It is essential to first understand the objectives before proceeding further. This principle applies not only to information architecture but to any project. Establishing clear goals is crucial as they serve as a guiding direction for your work. To illustrate this concept, I will present an example of an information architecture of a fitness app. It is important to note that everything shown here is merely an hypothesis. The purpose of this demonstration is to showcase the process of building an information architecture rather than just focusing on the finer details. In this particular case, the key goals are to increase revenue, reduce cost, and maintain an optimal level of user engagement. These objectives form the foundation of this information architecture. Step 2. Step 2 involves gaining a clear understanding of these user goals. In the case of a fitness app, there will be a diverse range of users, including beginners, advanced fitness enthusiasts, and busy professionals. It is essential to accommodate the needs of all these user groups. Each user will have a specific goal, and our objective should be to efficiently address and fulfill those goals. The next step is step 3, conduct competitor analysis. A competitive analysis will provide us with valuable insights into industry standards. We'll conduct a SWOT analysis and examine the workflows of competitors to identify which patterns are effective and which are not. Additionally, a competitor analysis will help us understand the underlying mental model of a fitness app. By analyzing how competitors have structured and prioritized their data, we can gain a deeper understanding of their approach. Having access to all this information will enable us to enhance and refine our product, ensuring it aligns with both business and user goals. This marks step 3 in the process. There is no challenge in reaching this stage. I think you'll be able to manage it efficiently. However, the next step is the most significant one for information architecture. That is, step 4, list down all the contents. When designing a fitness app, it is essential to list all its contents comprehensively. As you can see here, I've outlined all the contents of a typical fitness app. There are 2 key sub-steps to efficiently listing down these contents. The process becomes much easier and more structured. The first sub-step is to identify the primary sections of your product. Start by outlining the main areas that your app will include. For example, in a fitness app, common sections are home, workouts, tracking and performance, profile and settings, and support and community. Your main section should align with the business objectives and user goals. Competitor analysis can offer insights for effective structuring. This completes sub-step 1. Sub-step 2, break down each section into detailed subsections. Next, expand on each of the main sections by identifying their subsections. List all the possible subsections that might fall under each top-level categories, guys. For example, under home, you may have different features like what I've listed over here. And similarly for workouts, tracking and performance, user settings, and support and community. At this stage, you are not yet categorizing or deciding which content belongs under which section. You're simply listing everything that could be relevant. The goal here is to create a comprehensive inventory for all possible contents. Decisions about which specific content should go or which should be removed will all be made later during the grouping and label phase. By following these 2 steps, you'll be able to compile a complete list of your app's contents. And a common mistake or challenge people face here is distinguishing between content and non-content within an app. What is a content? Content refers to any information that users consume, interact with, or derive meaning from. It includes text, images, videos, recommendations, data insights, and any information that helps users achieve their goal. And what is a non-content? Non-content refers to an element that supports, organizes, filters, or enable access to content but not consumed as primary information. This includes navigation menus, search filters, settings, and backend functionalities. To differentiate between content and non-content, a simple test can help. If the user is reading, viewing, or interacting with something, it is a content. If something is organizing or personalizing the content, it is a non-content. However, a non-content is still an essential part of information architecture. It connects different pieces of content, making them accessible and structured. Knowing the distinction between content and non-content is crucial for designing an effective information architecture. Without this understanding, your app structure might be cluttered, leading to poor content discoverability and a confusing user experience. For a content to be presented effectively, it must be organized, categorized, and be discoverable. This is where non-content plays a vital role. It does not overshadow content but enhances accessibility, organization, and management. By recognizing the difference between content and non-content, you can create a clear, structured, and a user-friendly IA. To further reinforce this concept, let's examine a few examples from this table or column. In this table or column, daily workout recommendation is a content because it provides workout details to the users. And here the workout duration filter is a non-content because it's a function that helps users access the content in a specific duration. And FAQ is a content because users can consume the information. And strength workout is also a content because it direct workout details. And lastly, motivational tips. It is also a content because it provides useful information to the users. Plus, I've also listed a lot of other contents here in this table or column, which are content and non-content, and I've also listed the reasons for that. If you can just pause the video and read the table or column, you'll have a deeper understanding of what is a content and what is not. By understanding what qualifies as content and what doesn't, you can design an effective and a clutter-free information architecture, ensuring a seamless user experience. So this marks the end of step 4. Next, step 5, labeling and grouping the content. In this step, we will categorize and assign appropriate labels to the content identifier in step 4. This involves a series of sub-steps that, when followed correctly, will help you effectively structure and organize your content. Sub-step 1. Identify relevant content. The first task is to identify contents and group them accordingly. This means organizing similar contents based on their purpose and function. For example, daily workout recommendation, recently completed workouts, quick start workout options, progress overview, and motivational tips. These elements help users quickly access their workouts and track progress at a glance. Therefore, they are grouped together. Similarly, strength workouts, cardio workouts, yoga workouts, and all these other contents here. These items enable users to find and select workouts based on category, plan, or filters. So they are grouped accordingly. And then this one, workout history, calorie burned, strength level progress, personal record and achievements, weekly and monthly goal tracking. These elements focus on tracking user performance, progress, and achievements. Hence, they belong to the same group. By following this approach, you should group contents based on your product's business goals and user goals. This completes sub-step 1. Sub-step 2 is to create logical categories. Now that we have grouped the content, the next step is to define logical categories based on those groups. The first group, which provided quick access to the workouts and recommendations, can be categorized as quick access and overview. The second group, which allowed users to explore and select workouts, can be categorized as explore and select workouts. The third group, which helps users track their progress, can be categorized as track progress. Other relevant categories might include analytics, manage accounts and performance, and get support and contact. It is important to note that you don't have to structure your categories exactly as they would appear in an app. The goal here is to assign logical category names that clearly defines the grouped content. Next, lastly, sub-step 3, assign clear and familiar labels. Once you have defined categories, the next step is to assign clear and familiar labels that aligns with user expectations. Quick access and overview. For this category, this is commonly referred to as home page. For explore and select workouts, it can be labeled as workouts. For track progress and analytics, it can be labeled as progress. And for manage accounts and performance, it can be labeled as account. And lastly, support and community. It can be labeled as support. The key to assigning effective labels is understanding users' mental model. Many fitness apps follows a similar structures, so it's useful to analyze competitor labels during competitor analysis. Based on industry trends and user expectations, you can determine the best labels for your content. I'll give you 4 essential tips for assigning effective labels. First one is use common industry terms that users are already familiar with. Second, use clear and familiar words that users expect to see. Third, keep labels short and scannable to enhance usability. Lastly, fourth, use action-oriented labels when appropriate. Example, instead of workouts, consider browse workouts. Instead of progress, consider track progress. If you follow these sub-steps, you can efficiently group and properly label your content. While labeling and grouping content, avoid these following common mistakes. First one, using technical terms that users may not understand. Second, using business jargons instead of user-friendly language. Third, over-categorizing or under-categorizing content. Too many categories can overwhelm users. Too few categories can lead to overcluttered section. For example, if users want to find strength workouts or HIIT workouts, they should have a clear option. If categories are too broad, like strength and HIIT or yoga and mobility, it may require additional filtering, which can complicate navigation. Fourth one, ignoring user mentor model. We often assume users will follow a certain flow, but these assumptions must be validated through user testing and research. After completing this step, the next phase is mapping your information architecture, which ensures that all content is structured logically within your product. This marks the end of step 5. Now moving on to step 6. Step 6, mapping your information architecture. The first step in this process is to determine the type of structure you will use for your project. There are several models to choose from, including the hierarchical structure, flat structure, matrix model, and hub and spoke model. Among these, the hierarchical structure is the most commonly used, and for this guide, I've used it as an example. However, it's essential to select the structure that best suits your project's need. Once you've chosen the appropriate structure, the next step is to organize the content and implement it within your project. In this mapping, all elements on the same level represent the main section. By executing step 5 correctly, you will achieve a well-structured and an easily navigable result. When working on your information architecture, start by sketching out on a paper. This allows you to visualize the structure and make corrections earlier in the process. If the initial design doesn't work well, refine it before moving to a digital format. Once you have created a digital version of your IA, it is crucial to validate it using methods such as cut sorting and tree testing. During the validation process, you may identify areas that need improvement, make the necessary adjustments, and finalize your information architecture accordingly. By following these steps carefully, you will be able to create a clear and an effective information architecture. I mentioned earlier that I would share some valuable resources at the end of this video. If you want to deepen your understanding of information architecture, I highly recommend reading the following 3 blocks on the screen. These 3 blocks will teach you how to build an information architecture with navigational elements, what is deep architecture, what is wide architecture, and many more. These blocks cover a wide range of topics, helping you to enhance your knowledge. You can find the links in the description box, guys. Make sure you check them out. If there's any other topic you'd like me to discuss, feel free to leave a comment below. I'll happy to make a video on it. See you all in another exciting video. Cheers, enjoy, guys.